Yeah, baby. The Mac is back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're checking out the Voices of Wind collection by Soundiron. I thought we might start off by just heading over to the website here to learn a bit more about what this is. So it is indeed a collection. As I understand it, it comprises of smaller individual libraries that are bundled into this collection. So seems like Voice of Wind, whenever it says, like we have Adey, Kimba, or was it Kimba? Audrey, Connie, and I think that's them. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a collection of libraries. So because we're looking at a collection, I suppose I estimate that we probably won't be able to look at absolutely everything, but I'm trying to take as big of a sort of holistic overlook of this as we possibly can. So what is it? Well, they are solo voices, which are again bundled into this package, and you can play them individually, and it seems like they also have some combined elements here in the collection pack or version. Looks like the full price is $249, and right now at this moment I'm on the 3rd of December filming this. Not sure when this is coming out because I'm just really pressed on time. I'm trying to put it out as fast as possible, but at least now, well, we got the Black Friday stuff going on and Cyber Monday, etc. Half price, $124. Again, not sure if that's going to be the case when you're reviewing this. Probably not, but there you go. This collection is the combination of all our modular female solo vocal libraries in the Voices of Wind series, featuring 6 stunning vocalists. It includes vital chromatic and melodic articulations that are easy to use in any project that comes your way. Got some audio examples, which we are not going to listen to because we're going to experience it for ourselves. So yeah, Adey, I'm sorry if I don't pronounce that right. Adey, I guess Adey. Audrey, Connie, and Kimba. Voices of Wind collection features 2 brand new vocalists, Juliana and Phoebe. Okay, so I see you can't get these individually. Both new vocalists include the same gamut of chromatic sustains, staccatos, and legato, as well as a vast plethora of phrases and custom effects presets. Collection also comes with the Ensemble Sustains, Legato, Staccato, and 20 brand new sound design ambiences in a master ambience preset. Cool. I kind of like that, to bring like a twist to it, to bring some additional value to this. So 12.3 gigs. I think it was a bit bigger as a download, like 13 something. Over 20,000 samples. 8 times round robin in the staccatos, and true legato chromatic articulations for A, E, A, E, M, O, and U. It's always difficult doing that in English because in Finnish I want to pronounce it differently. Includes over 7,000 live dynamic melodic phrases. Cool. Organized by mood, key, and tempo. Nice. Divided into 100 BPM and 140 BPM tempos with bright and dark categories. A specialized 120 BPM hummed category. Nice. Cool. Contact player. Nice. NKS compatible. OS X 10.12 or later. Windows 7 or later. Lossless NCW samples, 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. Basic stuff. And yeah, if you own some of these, you're eligible for a discount of the collection. Nice. Cool. Then you have some summaries over here. I think this will probably get repetitive if we read too much of this. Nice. I think that's it. We'll just jump in here, I guess I could touch a bit on Soundiron. This is a company that I've known for a long time. I don't know if they have, I guess they've been around for quite a long time. One of those companies that pops up every once in a while here and there. And especially they have some deals with Native Instruments stuff. So when they go on sale there, I'm sure a lot of people will see them over there. I haven't actually, as far as I remember, owned any other Soundiron libraries, but I've definitely been aware of them. They sent me an email. They asked if I was interested in checking out their stuff, and of course I am. And we at least started off with this one. I don't know if we're going to do more, but we'll see how that goes. Might as well touch on transparency at this point. So yes, Soundiron did send me this collection, a copy of it. So thank you to them for doing so. That being said, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. I haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do that. In terms of what the plan is for today, we are just going to play as much of this as possible. Again, probably not going to get super tweaky with all the controls, but rather demonstrate what this sounds like, you know, coming straight out of the box, so to speak. And yeah, try and at least touch on all of these different aspects of it. So let's look at the library folder structure here. So in your side rack view panel, you open up instruments, and in here you have the individual singers. So that's Adey, Audrey, Connie, Juliana, Kimba, your wizard Kimba, Phoebe. And then we have these NKIs for Ambiences, Ensemble Legato, Ensemble Staccato, Ensemble Sustains. So I thought we might start with the kind of bigger NKIs and then go into these individual voices. Again, we cannot play absolutely everything here because I suspect this is a pretty kind of a sizable undertaking, but I'll try and sample, as in test, as much of this as possible for you, and that's that. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it's only the Voices of Wind collection in action. I don't add any effects on this whatsoever. No EQ, no compression, no reverb, no nothing. It's only as this sounds coming out of the box. I only have a limiter on my master bus to make the level more consistent for this video. That being said, it's set to be as transparent as possible, so you should get very minimal coloring or other influences over the sound. In case you hear some clipping, I'll probably let you know either way what's causing it. Certainly if it's the library, most likely not, but in most cases clipping is caused by the limiter. But I should let you know in either case if that happens. Does that cover our bases here? So I thought we might start with the ambiences here. Let's just go in order of the bigger NKIs here and go from there. As far as I can tell, yeah, so nothing opens up here. It's all in this menu. So you get 20 different ambiences, which are called windbeans. I would probably skip the D. That's what she said. Windbeans would be pretty fun. I will say I love the artwork. It's sort of super light and bright and sort of, how should I say this? Childlike in a very positive way. Sort of free and light. Just as a side note, but that's what I think. So windbeans, 20 of them. Let's open up number one. So looking at the interface here, obviously we've got the big artwork here, the menu for selecting that. You get swell, attack, offset, release, legato, vibrato, bend, and then you have the sample window. So let's start playing and go from there. Not exactly sure what swell does. It says this knob controls the dynamic volume. But I don't know what the dynamic aspect is. Is it the velocity? To me, you see, maybe it's the maximum level that it will rise to. I don't know. So we've got legato, which is a bit puzzling with an ambience control. So the speed of the legato transitions. So I don't know why that's necessary. It does allow you to, I don't know if it's called, okay, is it? Okay, there's a button for on and off. I wonder, so it's a bit puzzling that now when the light is on, it seems to be off, and now it's on when there's no light. Yeah, it seems like that sounds more legato-ish to me. I actually really like that non-legato thing as well. This is kind of very old school sampling sounding to me. Yeah, so in terms of the sound itself, this is a bit... I don't tend to like the kind of like wobbly bubbly type of things, so I'm probably not going to be the best audience for that. Let's go into Ambiences 2. So I'm not sure why this is monophonic. Let's turn off the legato. Okay, that's a bit puzzling to me. Because now it was definitely more legato-ish in this one when there's no light. Maybe it's not doing there what I think it is doing. Well, now it is monophonic. So I'm guessing legato means monophonic. But there the slides between the notes were definitely less with the legato on, which is a bit puzzling. So to me this ends up sounding a bit like old school sampling, like not quite like SNES style stuff, but in the kind of ballpark. And I think as a result of that, it all, well, not all, but so far many of these end up sounding kind of like organ-ish, organ-like. So yeah, the monophonic really there doesn't, it does a very specific thing. So you can hear that crackle at the top. That's the sample or something there. And again, like, I like that. Sounds like a bit of like a vinyl crackle. Cool. Yeah, I think definitely I'm gonna prefer these in a non-monophonic way. This actually reminds me a lot of like SNES stuff in terms of how it ends up sounding like. actually, that's actually really nice. Kind of lo-fi vibes gives me here. I don't know why I can't speak today. Not much of like voice vibe coming through. So, and I think it's because they're sort of, I might not have the terminology to explain this. Yeah, because it's sort of old school sampling style. Therefore, it's very difficult to bring in the kind of qualities that are very identifiable as a voice. So I think it's taking somehow the yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they're called wind ambiences anyway. So I don't know if they're trying to be very voice-like. Yeah, it reminds me of kind of like 90s stuff quite a bit. Quite a big level difference there also between the patches. Yeah, and because of the sampling style, the top end, to my taste, gets a bit too tinny and kind of bright. So I tend to prefer to stay in this area to kind of make it sound the best for my taste. I'm kind of interested in what this is doing, because when we press a key, we see this timeline scroll over this, presumably the sample that we are playing right now. But in terms of what's being done to it beyond that, beyond these controls that we see here, not sure. We have the effects rack, which I can definitely hear in action, but it seems like there's something else going on. All right, cool. Interesting sound for sure. This is really interesting to me because I'm getting kind of those lo-fi vibes out of this more than anything, and based on the way it kind of looks, I don't get like that intent. Obviously there's many ways in which we can perceive sound, so that's not like a, you know, an absolute statement, but I'm getting like very sort of lo-fi sampling vibes with interesting kind of quite lo-fi effects in many cases on top as well. That's definitely the most kind of cinematic that this has been so far. cinematic once again. That's really nice because that has those kind of ghostly vibes of, sounds like, you know, tormented, demented souls at the edge of kind of, you kind of perceive them more than hear them. It's like, is that what I think it is? And you're not quite sure. So I think that's really nails that sound really well. That's really cool. Yeah, this definitely got more cinematic the further you go in here. That gave me very sort of a kind of dystopian, kind of neon futuristic vibes, like a bit like maybe Ghost in the Shell. Same thing there. It's kind of like dancing at the edge of like tonality. We had a bit of limiter clipping there. It was not the library. Cool. Seems like those are the only ones you get. 20, not a ton. Also, one of the things that I'm sort of concerned with these is that it doesn't seem like we get a ton of tweakability here. So you're kind of locked in terms of what you can do with them. Obviously you get the basic attack, release, then etc., but this is more like behavior of the sound rather than going a bit more under the hood and tweaking at least, you know, different sound balances. So they clearly want to kind of sort of keep it under the hood here. I would love to see more of these and also have these be categorized a bit better, because like they said on the website, they've apparently categorized a lot of stuff in a way that seemed to make like a lot of sense to me and seemed super convenient and cool. So I would love to see it here as well, to have more descriptive things, because these were, we didn't play each and every single one of them, but they were very different stylistically, like very different genres to me, at least how I perceive them. So a bit more accurate or descriptive descriptions would be super nice. All right, cool. Let's move on to the Ensemble Legato here. All right, so it looks like this is combining all of these singers into these channels. Excuse me, still dealing with the residue of COVID and also a sinus infection apparently. So yeah, you go on mixer for those different mixer positions, I guess these are. Yep, you can move them here. Would be very nice if these clipped back onto their point of origin, because they don't seem to. That they would snap, that's the word I'm looking for. Cool, bit of a mixer there. And this is really, yeah, this is pretty much what you get here. In here you got those different vowels, and well, I guess M is a consonant, M is a consonant. Anyway, let's play this. So right off the bat, the sound is a bit too ensemble-y, like to me. I understand that it's an ensemble, but it becomes a bit sort of synthetic and sort of clunky. So I would probably use these in solo, and I guess we'll come to that when we use the voices, but just to kind of quickly test my theory. So I don't know why one of those notes was suddenly an ensemble. I didn't imagine that, did I? So what I'm noticing here is that some of the transitions are realistic and some are less so. So for example, this from here. Okay, so it seems like it depends on where you are in this sample that's going on. So if you want to get hyper realistic with this, you would find the exact best spot where to transition from into the new note. Yeah, so it really seems to depend on how the samples align, because if I'm interpreting this correctly, as I play this note, we're scrolling through this sample here. And then it loops back to the middle, it seems like. Yeah, so they've looked for a place where the continuation is the best. So this kind of... So I'm not a sample library creator, so I'm not going to actually talk about what probably could work better. I would like some of these transitions, depending where you are there, sound perfectly realistic, and some sound a bit sort of clunkier, more synthetic, where you can hear the transitions there. Let me turn off the legato here. Okay, yeah, so it becomes polyphonic there. Drift. When enabled, this option introduces a natural delay between singers, adding realism. So is this for the... I guess this is for the entire group, right? The entire ensemble. I actually enjoy the sound a bit more without the drift. I appreciate the option and the control, but it sort of affects the initial parts of the notes. Creates a bit of like suck there. I don't mean like bad, but like a sucking sound. And also what I'm noticing here is, so nothing here. So there's like a I guess like a contact vibrato being applied with the mod wheel. I'd much rather see this by default map to, well, first of all, dynamics. Doesn't seem like there's dynamics per se. We still have swell, which is controls the dynamic volume. Maybe that's the same thing. But it doesn't sound like sample based. Sounds more like engine, contact engine based. So yeah, I mean, you would get so much more realism out of it if you could sort of bring a bit more of that dynamic control in here. You can get a pretty long way with volume alone, so you can just automate that to volume as well. But yeah, that would still help a lot. Let's go into E. Yeah, like there, the realism between this jump was a lot better than some of the other transitions. So like here, you can clearly hear the steps. It's more synthetic here, but really beautiful when it does sound realistic. hits really nicely. So obviously you do have this attack control here as well. So that helps a lot with if you know the tempo you're in. But to have this attack, when you're going faster, you probably want it to be slower. But it, like with slower lines, okay, so it only influences the first note. So I would primarily probably use this as kind of like a hybrid synthetic realistic vocal thing. Or if you wanted to do like a more realistic approach, you probably have to blend it in with other elements because it doesn't have that like hyper realism there. Let's do A. I guess this is A pronounced. Cool. Yeah, I would need to do level automation for that. And tweak it if I wanted to go like super realistic, which makes me probably use this for more like a context where I want you to hear a bit more of that synthetic element there. Like it's a bit more sort of mechanical sounding, I guess. Cool, and then we got ooh. Yeah, I think it would also help a lot if the samples, because it sounds like they're made to be like there's the initial transient part of that singing, and then they're made to be as kind of steady and static and unchanging as possible. That really adds to the kind of synthetic quality of it. So I think if they were a bit livelier and there were sort of more natural sort of a more natural cadence, I guess, and flow and sort of changes in the vocal, then I think that could add to the realism a lot here. So primarily I would go for a where I want the synthetic quality of that vocal to also be present there. Let's go to the staccato patch here. Yeah, so to me this is super fun. Again, this is not what I would put in the kind of realism category. This sounds kind of like very sampled synthetic to me. But the sound is super clear, super sharp. It has that kind of like almost brass-like trumpet-like. You know, that kind of plosive power. Yeah, so that's what I'm sort of getting out of this. Yeah, I actually really dig that. Kind of reminds me of some of the stuff you heard. Squid Games? I think they had like some weird vocal bleepy things. Really beautiful. I love that. Again, I don't know, like, I'm not sure, like, when I'm reading the web page, I don't know how much of the intent is kind of aligning with my perceptions. Not that it will influence what I say here, but again, like, I really like this, not in a realism sense, because these are sort of the way they're sampled. Don't really. It doesn't sound to me like they're trying to be like super, like reproduce realism per se, because they are sort of a bit like synthetic and static. What I really love here is the velocity control here. Again, it's a beautiful, like kind of brass type of sound. Very crisp, present, beautifully balanced. Love how you can play with that velocity there. But yeah, I would definitely do like the weirder stuff that it's, you know, intended to sound, you know, sampled and synthetic. It's actually a super unique sound. I don't think I've heard anything like that. It's just so like in a way, like, not honky, because it doesn't get honky in terms of like frequency range, but it's sort of, it's a very kind of brass behavior vocal sampling thing, but it's super clear and sort of pristine. The range here is a bit, I wish it had just a bit more, because I have to then, you know, rearrange your chord inversions basically, which is fine. But yeah, I wish it was a bit broader here. Yeah, super cool sound. I could actually play that all day. It's a very, very interesting thing. Yeah, super nice sound. I just love this for that kind of weirder synthetic stuff. That is the limiter. Quite a bit of level fluctuation here with the library, so we've got to keep an eye on that. Yeah, this how it's so like clear and pristine and pure sounding. That's really impressively done. I think that is the Ensemble Staccato. Going into Ensemble Sustains. I will say this, I'm not a huge fan of Sustains overall, in different types of libraries even, like not just vocal libraries, but we'll see how this goes, especially if we don't have like a level control here. Let's see. I don't know why we have the legato option here, because this to me then, what's the difference to the legato patch here? I'm not sure. Yeah, so kind of going in the same line that I was talking about. Let's go into the individual voices. Let's go to Adey. Let's go with that. Let's do a bit of that legato. We're probably gonna be pretty light on that because we sort of got the gist of it in the ensemble thing, because you can solo stuff there as well, but that's weird. Like, some of the round robins sound processed to me, like pitched, and some of them sound like real. Also, that one sample seemed to have a bit of like, it sounds like digital clipping to me, and it sounds like the sample. But that could also be, sometimes voices do that also on their own. Yeah, because that definitely sounds, most of it pitched, but then I can hear this one sample that sounds realistic. So I'm not sure how they did that, if they mixed up some stuff there. The faster transitions actually work surprisingly well. I was expecting them to not do so well there, but they actually sound probably the most like best balanced out of the legatos, barring the transitions that to me sound really realistic. Definitely faster stuff begins to work better here, not so much in the low range. That's definitely pitched. Definitely sounds like it, at least. Yeah, the faster stuff works really nicely. I can hear that it's not like super sophisticated, but it's really nicely balanced in a way that works really, really well. Yeah, I think some consistency, because some of the legato transitions are just perfect. There's nothing kind of detectably synthetic sounding there to me, but I would love some more consistency, that all the transitions sounding as realistic, if you wanted them to sound realistic, which I think that is the intent in most cases here. Let's go into what is custom. Ooh, okay, so we got some effects processed stuff here. Let's try a few. Let's reconfigure this window here, because I suspect we'll be in this menu for quite a bit of time. So let's make sure we actually show that. Okay, so right off the bat, Really, really great sounding. So this is like one of the upsides of making, when you make sample libraries with vocals, when you record these phrases, because you get like perfect realism from beginning till end. These are really nicely done, beautiful voice, beautifully performed, beautiful. The effects processing is really nice here as well. Looking at this thing here, sequencer. Okay, forward one shot, steps 32, current step 1. So we got some breaths here in the yellow zone, and then we have pitch changing in the green, and okay, sequencer, it works here. Okay, beautiful effects here, beautiful reverberation and sense of space. Just gotta wait for it to fade if you want to hear what you're doing. That bit of clipping there in between was not the limiter. I think it could be in the actual, and it was in contact, so it could be in the actual samples there. So yeah, this is really cool. I like this because then you can presumably, okay, so you can change the steps here and build the kind of steps you want to do, or then you can just play them yourself here in the blue zone. These sound really, really, really good. And then of course, if the effects get a bit too much, you can turn them off. Yeah, beautiful voice, beautifully tracked, beautifully treated, just a very, very stellar delivery there on that front. And also a very nice dry controlled sound, but it's not like choking dry. You can hear a bit of presence and ambience there, which is usually a really good thing. Even if you add reverbs, it tends to work a bit better that way because it gives a bit of depth and dimension to the sound. So it's not just like super choked up. Very, very nice. These are really, really well done. Then you got different keys here. Presumably, wait a minute. Why does it? Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, these are presumably, yeah, choosing the vowel phrase set. So that changes presumably the key we're in. Yeah, these are really, really well done. I'm not sure, like, are all of these going to be the same, but they just have like a different, yeah, looks like it. So they're all dealing with the same phrases. Yep. But we have a different set of effects here. That's actually really cool. I like this approach quite a lot because it gives you, again, their skill and their tools in the kind of sound design production department, and you can just use them as a user of this library. That is the limiter. That's very loud. Jeez, sorry. Yeah, so the sound design work here and, you know, building these are really, really well done. Really nice. Okay, so, okay, not all of them seem to use the same, yeah, the phrase sequencer builder. That's the limiter. Some of this stuff gets really resonant and loud. Really cool. Yeah, I like that you can have zero sound design experience or, you know, productional ability to create these kind of different atmospheres, and then you can just do it like that. So, and I guess here in the phrase thingy-majingy, let's do phrase dark. Yeah, so this seems to use the same sequencer here. Not sure, is bright and dark just a processing difference, or is it actual, you know, stylistic difference, like vocal delivery difference? That's beautiful. Just like everything about that is beautiful. Beautiful voice, beautiful tracking, beautiful ideas also musically, like super evocative, unique. Let's try the bright one here. That's interesting. To me, the tone here so far has sounded darker. So I don't know if that refers to what? Is it musical idea brightness or darkness? Or is it some of the EQ choices? I guess that, yeah, maybe the vocal tone was a bit more sort of upfront and brighter. Cool, very nice. Let's do phrase hum here. Yeah, obviously we can't play all of these, but these sound just stunning and really, really good to me. And also, very importantly, they sound super good and interesting musically. They're not just, you know, some generic pieces and bits here and there, but just, yeah, they sound very flexible there. Seems like you can also indicator represents the sample start offset for phrase playback. Cool. That's super useful in case you want to just use parts of it. Cool. Let's go into Audrey. Audrey. Oh, was it Audrey? Oh, that's a nice owl. Yeah, kind of the same deal here. Again, I'm not going to repeat myself over those, but they seem to work really similarly in terms of the legato there. Yeah, that's a really cool tone. Again, I would go for like a more synthetic style here, but that's just me. Again, let's do a couple of effects here. Yeah, very nice effect treatment. It doesn't get... They're quite a lot, you know, quite intensive, that's what I'm trying to say. But they're super smooth. So even if they are effect sort of intensive there, it's very tastefully and nicely done. Very beautiful, unique tone. I think one of the strengths that I'm kind of beginning to understand here is the diversity of the voices. It's probably going to be like an insane package of so many different voices, and there's so many phrases, and they are so well done. It's probably going to be maybe the strongest point of this offering. You get so many voices with so many different unique tones and so many phrases that are just really, really, really good. So yeah, we'll see. We'll do that summary once we come to it. Let's do one more effect thing here. Let's do vinyl. Okay, that's definitely clipping. And again, these seem to be not phrase based. That's the limiter. It gets super loud. Yeah, cool. Let's move on to Connie. Connie, you know, wizard Connie. Sounds like a very familiar voice to me. I don't dare to make guesses of who it is, but sounds very similar to me. Familiar to me. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, kind of the same thing. Again, legatos end up sounding a bit synthetic. Some of the transitions sound perfectly, well, perfect to me, but it's not like consistent at that level, I wouldn't say. Some staccatos. Yeah, this definitely gives like those electronic synthetic vocal vibes. Yeah, again, like that horn quality, that brass vibe is really prominent here. And again, whether that's good or not depends on you and what you're trying to do. Again, there the effects are kind of helping with the legato, but it's still, you can hear the synthetic aspect of it. Limiter. Kind of same thing there. But again, if you want to go for more synthetic sound, that's nice. By the way, this artwork is really, really nice. Really well done. Let's do Hummingbird. This one has phrases in there. So it seems like these effects, custom things, are kind of a mix of different aspects. So you got some legato, you got some phrases, etc. Nice. And then yeah, really beautiful. And also like that they have a bit of color in different places, so you can again use bits and bobs of it. Again, effects processing here is just beautifully done. They're quite rich, but they are really, really well done. Let's just do a few from the dark patches here. Oh, sorry, phrases. Yeah, just beautiful performances, beautiful voice, beautifully tracked. I'm going to turn off the reverb just to hear these sort of on their own. Again, the noise is in there. That's definitely in the samples. Hard to say. To me, it sounds a bit like a cable noise or something. Some kind of like crackling. Could be something also happening in the booth itself. So it's not like... Yeah, some kind of cable noise. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, again, seems to me like you're getting a lot of vocal diversity here and a lot of really, really good phrases. I love these artworks. These are just superbly well done. Yeah, kind of the same thing going on here. So hyperrealism gonna be hard to pull from here, or you have to just like find the perfect transitions to go for as real sounding as you can. Oh yeah, by the way, we're in a different voice. Juliana here and staccatos. How the sound is so pristine and so upfront and so crystal clear. Yeah, if you want to go for that synthetic short note type of a thing, this really nails that. Probably nothing sort of comes to mind that does it like that. A few custom things here. Yeah, nice effects processing. Again, if you want to go for that kind of hybrid synthetic vocal thing. Also going in there in between and doing some volume automation on the samples themselves before they feed into that reverb. That will do a lot as well. Gladiator's Dream. Yeah, super cool. I wonder what movie they're referencing there. Well, anyway. Quests of Valor. Yeah, going for that old school sampling thingy-majingy. Kind of a, yeah, reverse play there. Gives a nice, different tone. Moving into Kimba. You must trust yourself, Kimba. Yep. This sounds like a bit of a hybrid of some of the two voices we've heard so far, something in between. Definitely a lot looser. Let's go into custom. Let's do... Can you hear me now? Cool. Bit of effects processing there. Ethereal delay. Yeah, definitely more like drift in that voice, so it gives a bit of a wonkier, wobblier tone. Again, that's not like a criticism, just like a description of the tone. Yeah, I would do like sort of modern vocal short sampling stuff with that. It reminds me of some of the stuff like, what's it called? The output library. I don't have it, but I know it does stuff like that. Exhale, I think, is the name. Really, yeah, I really dig that stuff. Let's do Wind Chaser. Sorry for my crappy playing today, by the way. I don't know what it is, but maybe still being sick, maybe still recovering. I was just like, ugh. They're not doing what I wanted them to do, you know? So a few phrases here.
Oh, you want to tell again time. Get it in the house, I can die.
Interesting, I don't know what you would call that, language or modeling or what. There's a term for that, but really like sort of English, but like sounds like the Simlish, Sim language. Yeah, really beautiful. By the way, the fade outs from those are really, really well done as well. Or the releases, whatever you want to call them, I guess release. Because that's also probably not super easy to do, because you kind of got to pair them with the samples themselves. So cool. That was Kimba, and going into Phoebe. Is this going to be like from Friends or something? Yeah, I mean, these artworks are just stunning. That is not clipping. That could be a number of things. Could be actually the actual voice. Could be, yeah, that's really hard to say. That could just be the actual voice as well, because you can have that kind of resonance there. Again, it's in some of the round robins, but not all. Yeah, I'm wondering if they could go in there and pair some of the round robins with one another for maximal realism, because I'm sure some of them, the inconsistency here is really one of the main issues if you're chasing realism here. So I would probably look at how to pair some of those round robins for maximal realism, so that it will kind of force them into that, because I don't mind that it would be the same sample repeating. I would in most cases, unless I was going for a synthetic kind of non-realistic sound, I would want to, if I wanted it to be realistic, I would just want it to be consistent in that way. So I wonder if I understand that the round robins here create variety and change, which is nice for the ear, but when you're dealing with hunting realism here, if you're hunting realism, then I think there's a lot they could do with these samples that they wouldn't have to retrack anything. I don't think that's the issue here, at least for the most part. So I think there could be some technical work that could be done to kind of inch this upwards. And also, well, in terms of the samples, one of the things I mentioned earlier is the fact that when you play a single note, I would actually prefer these to be single notes that are, sung out, and then they sort of have a natural decay. And you could have maybe short, medium, long decays, but that would add to the realism a lot. Because it's almost never when I want a note to sustain for forever. It's just not something that ever happens with vocals because we have to breathe. So I would trade the natural decay for that. I think it would help a lot there as well. Let's move into the staccatos. Yeah, this is there's a bit of clipping here. Let me pull back this level. This is one of the sounds from the ensemble thing that definitely gave that one of those vibes that I really like. Also, there's not a lot of, like, you basically have this quieter velocity and then you have the loud velocity. Not much in between, so you can't really play with that. It kind of works for what I would do with like a synthetic sound vocal approach here. I don't mind it, but would be nice to have maybe a bit more layers there. So there I'm gradually increasing the velocity, and then some notes just kind of go past the threshold, and then they are just the loud version. It's really impressive though how the sound is so crystal clear and upfront and super punchy. Really, really good for that kind of stuff. A few from the custom. Let's do Bird's Call. Okay, very effecty type of a thing. Darkness Rising. That is a super cool sound. Really good. I'm guessing these are like pitched samples. I gotta say, that's one of the most interesting sounds that I've heard in a while, and I've heard some interesting sounds lately. That's a really, really cool one. I love this aspect here. It's a shame we can't go through all of these effect things, because I'm sure there's more of that in there, but this is really, really cool. This is where the kind of brass-like quality, because these sound like short notes that are pitched, so they're just a bit longer and obviously pitched down. Sounds like that brassy quality kind of comes through, creates a really interesting, because this kind of sounds like a horn, like maybe a fog horn, something like that. So yeah, I really like this. This is really great. That's gonna be worth a walk away. Really good. I love this kind of stuff because it makes me feel like they recognize the quality of the short notes, that they're sort of brassy and then they pitched, and that's a very brassy kind of foghorn type of sound, but it retains that brilliant upfront clarity here, like this top end. Beautiful. And then you have that wobbliness of the vocal, which is really creating a really interesting vibe there. Let me actually, just out of curiosity, I want to turn off this reverb. And then we have the distortion there. Let's turn that off as well. You could do really interesting, like wonky lo-fi type of stuff with that. I love this. Yeah, definitely need to dive into the effect things a bit more because, yeah, that's really simple creatively, but it works brilliantly with the samples. That's really cool stuff. So this one seems to have a bit of like bit crushing going on or something. Does it? Don't see anything here. I don't think so. But he has that bit crushed edge. But yeah, that kind of stuff would be really cool for like the more lo-fi SNES type of, or any kind of older sampling approach. Flying Angels. Beautiful. Beautiful. I want to do this next one as well. Super quiet, but again, beautiful tone. I love that. I wonder if that's like an octave doubling, or maybe it's coming from the filter resonance there. Could be, but beautiful, that sort of overtone type of doubling there. Very, very nice. Into the Void. Okay, this seems to have... Are we still good to go? Yeah, it seems like we are still recording. Oh, no, I don't want to go to the website, Marcus. I want to go to my DAW. I don't know why we... Let's change the preset. Yeah, sorry about that. I wonder if this is just super quiet. There's definitely something going on with that preset. Probably worth looking into because it's very quiet. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of level fluctuations in that one because it's very filtered, and then it's the certain frequencies are responding in relation to the filter. So certain stuff is really quiet and certain stuff is really loud. Very cool demonstration of like a theremin-like effect type of thing, just by taking the samples and using the effects there. Really nicely done. Let's do trailer. I'm so sorry about that. Jeez, 12 dB difference. Wow. Well, it's no wonder it's kind of like a super resonant vocal performance. I want to hear that without the effects. That must be pretty difficult to sing. Unless you're fucking good at what you do. Cool. I think we're gonna call it there. So this thing, I mean, I was gonna say this was not what I expected it to be, but that wouldn't be fair because I tried to go in here with as few expectations as possible so I can experience it for myself. And oftentimes when you do that, you come out with like a summary opinion statement of it that is very different to what a lot of people say, and I hope there's utility in that. So hands down, I think, like I said earlier, one of the best things about this as an offering is that you get 6 different voices that are brilliantly first of all, brilliant voices, all of them beautifully performed, beautifully tracked. For the most part, we did hear some like cable noises and some maybe clipping here and there. Not super prominent, but here and there, still worth just pointing out. Yeah, but otherwise beautifully tracked. And I think by far the strongest part of this is the phrases. And this is one of the strengths of creating a vocal sample library, because you can just record phrases and they'll be super realistic and as good as you essentially make them to be. So again, like I said, beautiful voices, beautiful performances, well tracked. And then the musical ideas that are in the phrases were, without a miss, really good and really interesting, but they also sounded simple enough that they'll actually slot into some of the music you're writing. And also some of them are super interesting enough on their own to maybe spark even a composition. So that's worth considering. Some of them were quite ornamented, I would say. So kind of they continued on when you heard a phrase and you heard something beautiful. I would sort of maybe in most cases hope that they sort of just faded out from there, but then there was kind of more ornamentation or more patterns. So I'd probably simplify it a bit, but I did hear enough of like the simpler stuff as well that I think it's fine. And also you can not use the entire sample, so I don't think that's going to be a huge issue, but something, you know, I picked up on. But I think that's hands down the best part of this as an offering. And you get so many different colors of voices, but they are all in a sort of similar pool, similar basket. They are very different voices, but there's also a bit of like tonal and textural overlap. So that's a pretty good thing, I would say, because if you like some of the voices here and with some of the phrases, then you'll probably like the other ones as well, and then you can sort of use them quite flexibly in your compositions. So yeah, phrases definitely really strong. What I also like as an extension of that, which I think is probably the second most strongest aspect of this as an offering, is these custom ones. Now, all of these are not based on phrases. Some of them are, but some of them are not. The effects processing here is really well done. They are quite rich. They are quite, you know, big and reverby, a lot of them, and quite when I say intensively treated, that's maybe not the right word. They are they have a specific sound to them, but the treatments are super, super well done. You have these beautiful soundscapes that are lush and rich, but they're not overbearing, and they don't get harsh or, overly resonant or anything like that, which can really commonly be the case if you don't know what you're doing. So they clearly are knowing what they're doing. That's not even English, but we'll go with that. And so you get to leverage their productional abilities, their sound design abilities, and I think that's a big plus, especially if you don't do that stuff for yourself or by yourself. Then you can use these and leverage them. And of course, you can go into the effects rack and tweak stuff to fit your music better. But I think those two are by far the strongest aspects of these. And I should also mention that there are a lot of phrases. I mean, we only scratched the surface, but presumably all of these have, okay, so you got keys and then you got the different version. Let's actually look at how that is laid out. Okay, I don't know how that's how does that differ? Looks very similar to me. Anyway, the point is you get a lot of phrases because you got these dark and brights and hums, and you got those for all of these different 6 voices. So that's a huge bank of different phrases that all seem to be super solid to me. So again, the sheer volume of that is worth considering. And then you, of course, have all of those in different keys. And this is actually a pretty vast selection of keys, because usually I say most libraries give you maybe 2 different keys, and then you just have to pitch with contact there. I don't know if this does that sort of if these are actually sampled in different keys or if this pitched. We couldn't simply cover enough ground here to figure that out. But yeah, even so, they're at the very least, pre-selected here. Like here we have 6. There in the previous one we had 8 or 10 or whatever. So that's a lot. So that's also worth considering. And even if they are kind of pre-pitched and in contact, it's still quite a lot of less work for you to go with that. What else? So that's the strong points for sure. Then going into the zone of it's quite subjective if that's good or bad for you. I love personally the staccatos here. They're not like super realistic sounding to me. I would not use these for like super realistic staccato vocal things. I would use this for like very clearly synthetic, like Squid Games type of soundtrack stuff, where I want to use a human voice, but use it. Why can't I speak anymore? Use it in a way that's intended to sound like sampled and synthetic. The staccatos are remarkably crystal clear and present, and they really punch through super nicely, and they have this kind of brass-like quality to me, which is quite impressive. So, and again, as we heard in one of the effects presets, you can also pitch those and do crazy stuff with that. So these are really cool kind of synthetic sound design, special type of sampled synthetic vocal things, which I like. Again, with the legato, it's kind of like some of the transitions sound realistic, perfectly realistic to me, but not most. Like, I think in terms of going for a very realistic vocal sound, I think they need quite a lot of work to get to a decent place. One of the things I thought about earlier or proposed, and again, I'm not a sample library developer, so what the hell do I know? But my perception of it seems to be that you got quite a few of those different round robins, and sometimes the transition from one note to another in legato works better with certain round robins versus the other ones where it doesn't. And also depending on where you are in the sample here, depending on when you trigger the legato, it's going to sound more realistic going into another note. So again, to summarize, you're probably going to have to do a lot of tweaking to make these sound very realistic, do kind of level automation as well, and be very precise about where you put your effects, etc. So I wouldn't primarily recommend it for that. And yeah, you would probably have to work a lot to make it sound very realistic that way. But yeah, I think they could rework this with some tech under the hood to make it more realistic, because I think the samples themselves, again, sound beautifully sung and recorded and tracked. That's so from that perspective, I don't see, and it seems like you have so many round robins anyway that you can kind of work your way through and figure out where the most realistic combinations are. And also, the realism would increase a lot if these samples weren't just like long sustained notes. Because that's not something that happens with vocals anyway. So I think realism would be increased if they actually sampled these as sort of just naturally decaying notes, and maybe do that in 3 different tempos. Even that, I think, would get you a lot further when it comes to realism. But again, maybe you don't want to use these in a realistic way. Maybe you want to do some synthetic sounding stuff with that. And if that's the case, then fair enough. And for that, I think it's fantastic. What else? Touching on these kind of combination AKIs that are in the collection. Maybe the weakest link, maybe the weakest chain in the link. The ambiences, I did like a few of them. You only seem to get 20, which is not a lot. They went from sort of like very simple SNES or kind of old school sampling, lo-fi-ish even styles, into more cinematic ones. And I think a couple of the cinematic ones sounded really, really interesting and cool, but it doesn't seem like you can tweak these a lot. Like, we just don't have much here to go by. So not super tweakable. And yeah, the offering seems a bit slim on that front. The Ensemble Legato, again, because I don't think the legato is super strong, at least from the kind of realism standpoint. This will have limited use for me. And again, combining all of these sounds kind of makes it an ensemble sound, and that's what they wanted to do because it's called ensemble. But it just kind of makes it less realistic for me in most cases. So I would probably use this to maybe have like easy access to the legatos here for all the voices. So in that way, it's pretty convenient, but I would not personally find a ton of use for this. And I think that, the staccatos, again, I love those, but for the reasons that I mentioned, I think it's a beautiful kind of sampled synthetic vocal sound. So I would use it for that. And also one of the things that I want to add is this is obviously quite a sizable collection of different instruments and different sounds. So again, this was like a very surface level brushing on a bit of all of these, but hopefully this still has some utility for you, especially when we went into the effects stuff here in the the custom folder. Really a lot of cool stuff here. We didn't play all of them, so that's definitely worth venturing into and finding out what's in there, because I was really impressed with a lot of those sounds there. Oh shit, one of these is called One Ring. So I definitely should have played that as a fan of the Tolkiens. But yeah, so I just wanted to emphasize that this is very sizable collection of phrases and a lot of other stuff. So unfortunately, I can't demonstrate all of them without spending an entire day doing so. But again, hopefully this still had utility for you and gave you an idea of what this collection is about. Cool. I think that about summarizes my thoughts on this. I'm sure many of you have this at home or at your studio. So let me know what you think, and also if you're considering getting this, let me know what you think, and as always, certainly let me know what you think of this video. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, I'll see you next time. Finished.